So here we are, chapter 12. This is the last chapter in the QuickBooks desktop version. And in this chapter, we're going to be talking about doing some customization and how to make some kind of fine-tuning adjustments. And so I'm going to just skip through our objectives. So here's the home page. And sometimes you may have noticed throughout the semester that when I switch over to the live version, you may see this, or you may just see a gray screen. And so this is something that you can turn off and on. You can customize to have different things show up than what you see here. And so it's just a matter of personal preference. This is not a screen that I use or click on or look for things in. I just, as a matter of preference, tend to use the menu bars up at the top. I don't know. This is just never something that this was a kind of a later addition to QuickBooks. And I think when you get used to doing things a certain way for a while, you just keep doing it, even sometimes when they offer different stuff. So the homepage, that splash screen, is a default. And you can turn it off so that you can make it so that the gray screen if that bothers you. And so we'll go into how to change that in a second, but just looking at what this includes and how to modify this so that maybe it meets your needs. It has two tabs on it. I'll go actually back up to this slide. You can see we've got home page and then we have insights. And so the home page tab gives you 5 sections, and it's devoted to each of these major accounting areas that, or function areas that your business may be working with. And then this insight tab gives you sort of at a glance profit and loss information. The icons that show up on this home page are controlled by the preferences, or by the items that you enable on the preference page, either during the initial company setup, or if you go in and manually make those changes into the preferences screen. So as you enable or disable them, those icons will appear or disappear. Important to note, and I guess this last bullet, oops. Oh, sorry, I switched to a mouse that's a little touchier than my trackpad. But anyway, if you enable a preference within the company preferences menu, you can't then remove the icon from the home page. So you're just kind of stuck with it. And if the icons bother you and it's something you don't want to look at, you can hide that so that you don't have to look at it. So, so I jumped over here to the live version to illustrate this next point. And I actually I opened up chapter 1 just so you can recall what all we had here on this splash screen. And it wasn't a lot because we didn't have a lot of features enabled. So if I go in, for example, to the preferences, and let's say I enable jobs and estimates. And so here we are back on, move myself here, the splash screen, and now you can see that we have these features. And again, we are stuck with these features if we've enabled that QuickBooks. And if you just don't want this here at all, go into your preferences, and let's see, it's actually in the company preferences, and show home page when opening company file. If you uncheck that, then you will not see that when you open your QuickBooks. Mine's a little pokey. So if I were to close and reopen this company, it would just show up as the gray screen. And so there are also just some at a glance parts to QuickBooks along the right side of the home page, should you continue to use this, has your current account balances for your bank accounts. And so I guess it's just a reminder. Do more with QuickBooks, not something I use. But the backup status, particularly helpful if you don't have your backups set to happen at a regular period, which I encourage you to do, either set to a certain time that the backup automatically occurs, or that you have it back up, every time you close, or every third time you close, whatever you choose to do. It's important to make sure that you do that. And if you, for some reason, have an aversion to backups, at least this backup status will hopefully keep that in the forefront of your mind. And so I had shown you how to go in and either show or hide the home page when you're opening the company file when we were over in the live version. Then we've got the left icon bars, and those show up down the left, and it's basically a shortcut feature for various things. And if you want to add an icon to the icon bar, you click the customize icon bar and the window appears, and then you can add items to that. So now I have opened the Chapter 12 version of the company files, just so you can see all the features that we're talking about here. So we've got our do more and our account balances, and then I'm going to have to cover some things. And so the left icon bar that we're talking about, give it just a second. Things are a little pokey this morning. There we go. And so this is the left icon bar that also has your do more with QuickBooks, view your balances, for example. And this actually is something that I use for some reason more than the splash screen. I don't know. It just looks a little bit more user-friendly for some reason. So if we want to customize this icon bar, we go back up to our view menu and we select customize icon bar. And then there are all kinds of things that we can see here. And if we want to add some, then we just can select from anything on this list, and we can choose these items. So a number of different customizations that you could choose to do if you were so inclined. And now the top icon bar can also be customized if you don't want to use the file, the customer center things. You can have these pictured icons up here, which may be more user-friendly to you. And so we'll just collapse this for a second if we want to keep it, but not have it in the middle of everything. And we can view our top icon bar. And now we have features that we can include here. And again, we can customize the icon bar if we want to do that. snapshot things that you can choose to access from this, or you can access any of these common functions, but similarly, you can still use your toolbar ribbon at the very top to do the same things. It's just different ways, different ways of showing the same function. And so moving away from our icon bars and our menus, we can also customize the sub-accounts presentation. And so as we sometimes created new accounts, we would create a sub-account either under our expenses, or it could be income, or it could be any kinds of things. And so we had, and there's the example they give here of accumulated depreciation as the sub-account under the fixed asset, which was the parent account on the balance sheet. And so this allows us to change the view of our parent and our sub-accounts. So this is the hierarchical view. And so it shows the parent account here, and then under that, it shows the sub-accounts in this case, which is the cost and the accumulated depreciation, which then has our carrying value or our book value of the asset as the parent account. Or you can just go back to looking at it under the flat view also. And my computer is basically telling me that it's time for a restart. So I'm going to stop this video here, restart my computer, let it do its updates, and then